Hey guys, it's Skully Sati. Thank you so much for joining me for my impromptu video that I was called on here to do, as sometimes universe does with me. I just wanted to kind of go over what's going on, in terms of my visions and all that of, this virus and what seems to be going on underneath all that. For those of us who've been doing our soul work, which is not easy, this human experience is definitely something that is, very trying, very tumultuous, very difficult, but it can also be very rewarding, once we put the work in and see, how successful we've been. And, I've noticed just with myself and with my clients, with my friends and family, like over the past 2 to 3 years, I'm going to say 3 years, people have really been called to do the deeper work on themselves. So this means, digging into old childhood traumas. If you believe in past life stuff, that goes into digging into past life traumas. Just a lot of stuff that has really, helped create who we are in this life. And, a lot of the trials and tribulations that we may have, gotten ourselves into. I mean, some things are preordained, in some people's views. But a lot of the things that we go through, a lot of the problems, a lot of the weird relationships and, things of that nature, that's all our own decision making. And that's based on what we learned as we were growing up. So, a lot of people have been doing the work. I wish more people were, but a lot of people have been digging in deep and, they've been doing, psychotherapy. They have been doing different forms of therapy to try to dig out old stuff that's, still keeping us tethered to something negative. They have been coming to, tarot readers and healers and all that other good stuff to try to find some semblance of peace within themselves so that they could start attracting a different kind of experience here as humans. I found that in that process, myself included, relationships come and go and friendships come and go and, different situations, different aspects of ourselves, we may leave those behind because they no longer suit the path that we're trying to be on, right? So, those of us who have been doing the work, it has been a very difficult process. And, it's even more painful when we have to let certain people go that, just don't feed our positive sides. They just trigger the negative. So, I know for a lot of my clients, it's really about first really, seeing what needs to be fixed within your life. And, for a lot of people, that's the kind of people that we allow ourselves to be around on a consistent basis. Now, if we're around people and they're not doing their own soul work, right, they are going to keep us stuck because they're going to keep triggering our stuff, right? Because they're vibrating on a different, frequency. So they're like low vibrational. We're trying to rise up and we've got this person, be it a family member, friend, coworker, lover, whatever, that, just keeps us lowered to their thing because we have to try to, find a way to connect with them, right? So what ends up happening is we keep staying in particular relationships or situations that keep validating the traumas that we went through as a child or adolescent, even past life stuff. So it's really difficult to be able to take a look at, our situations and be able to say, this person's not good for me. And it doesn't mean that that person's a bad person. It just means that right now we're not on the same path because, some of us are doing the work. Some of us are, kind of doing the opposite, right? We're drowning in alcohol or we're in drugs or we're, trying to, distract ourselves with the media or, sex or whatever it is, food, whatever it is, right? And, that just keeps you stuck. These temporary fixes don't work, right? So, it's hard to face our demons, and to dig in deep and feel that hurt renewed and to be able to, decide that we have to go through yet another trial of pain by letting people close to us go, right? But it's just the way it is sometimes. That's life. It's this human existence. I have already told universe this is my last time as a human here. I don't want to come back. Very rewarding. I'm glad I get to come here and, talk with you guys and, offer the assistance that I have to the people who have wanted it. But this human existence is very difficult. It's a very hard thing to go through. And I think right now, what's going on is the culmination of, basically humanity's actions and inaction, right? So what I did this morning is I pulled a card just to see what's going on right now, what we can expect and all that stuff. And I actually did it from one of my favorite decks, which is the Mary L. Tarot. Very, very cool, very ethereal looking. And this is the card that I got, right? Judgment. Now, I myself am not a religious person. I'm very spiritual. I do believe in something bigger. I do believe in universe. But that coincides perfectly with what I was thinking and what I've been talking with other readers about and friends and things like that. It does feel like we are in a time of judgment. It's a lot of chaos going on right now. There's a lot of stuff that we're being distracted from with the media, and now we're dealing with a virus that's killing people off, but yet we're focusing on a virus that is not as deadly as something else that's killing a lot of people off, like influenza. So it's really a lot about what are we choosing to pay attention to, right? That's with our individual lives as well, but as a mass union, what are we paying attention to? What are we giving our energy to? What are we putting our fears into, right? What are we, allowing to dampen our spirits, right? So let me just read you what this was, and I thought it was just very apropos. But what judgment means is scales fall from your eyes, meaning that you can see, like a serpent, being able to, drop illusions, right? Resurrection, rebirth, beyond division, soulmates merge, innocence and experience becoming one, birth into eternity, highest exaltation, large cycles of life, death and rebirth. And there is always an opportunity for redemption, and always is capitalized here. The reverse of that is bad judgment, overcautiousness, cowardice, clouded vision, right? The final decision in respect of the past, new current in respect of the future. Okay, so that makes a hell of a lot of sense to me, because right now we're kind of, if you're a bit paranoid and you are really religious, you're looking at Revelations in the Bible and you're like, holy shit, right? There's locust swarms in Africa, and there is the plague that's taking over. Is it one of the four horsemen? It's hard not to be taken over by fear and to worry that we're in end of days, and that it's a time to either sink or swim, right? And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, the mass, what they're doing is they are choosing to continue on with the things that got us here in the first place, which are greed, selfishness, entitlement, lust, just a lot of things that we don't really need to have on a consistent basis, okay? A little bit of that stuff, it's fine, right? It's okay to want nice things. It's okay to want to have, lust and, sex and love and all that stuff. But is it okay to do it, in such a way where you are causing other people pain? Just look at what's going on right now, brawling over toilet paper, seriously, this is, you think that the end of days is coming, and this is what you guys are really focusing on, is what you're going to wipe your ass with? That's the last of my concerns. If I really thought it was end of days, you better believe I'm going to have the best food in my house, and I'm going to keep in great contact with the people that I love, and I'm going to cuddle my kitties, and I'm going to do things during this time, and that is what I'm doing right now, where I'm feeling content, and I'm feeling like I could have some sort of peace of mind, so that I'm not freaking the hell out like a lot of people are doing, I just think that right now we're at a very pivotal point where, it really is a decision. It's always been a decision on the individual's part, and right now we're in another decision-making process. It's not about like soul redemption or anything like that, heaven and hell. Like, I can't say that, those are things that I, wholeheartedly believe in. I'm not discounting any kinds of things, but, I just feel that it's really about personal choice at this point. You know what I mean? And, you can choose to freak out and give into the fear mongering, which is just a form of control, distraction. Or you could choose to really embrace, your soul work, which is, if you're in quarantine right now, utilize that time. Don't sit there in fear and sadness and regret. Like, utilize that time to really work on the things that make you feel good as an individual. Work on your creative endeavors, make sure that you're keeping in touch with the ones that you love, and, looking at your life in such a way where it's like, okay, so, a lot of crazy shit is happening right now. What's my part in it? What can I do to help elevate the energy of the world, right? Like, when I get out of quarantine, what am I going to start doing, to help better the world? What am I going to do to start, bettering my life and, enhancing my human experience here, right? So, I don't know. I was called to come on here and talk with you guys, and, I feel like it's just really about, pointing out that we still do have a choice with this. Even if like something happens and we're locked down, we're, dealing with like martial law, worst case scenario, we still have the power to think for ourselves. We still have the power to be able to do things that will keep us sane and at peace and spiritual and, centered. And I think that's the most important part. So, guys, if you take anything away from this, if you stayed with me this long, right, make sure that you're really continuing to do the things that make you feel good, that make you feel loved, make you feel like you want to love, right? Don't give in to the fear, don't give in to despair. If there are things that, during this time, if you're alone, and you're feeling a lot of depression, like, examine that, feel that, don't drown in it. Right? Don't try to distract yourself by, sitting home drinking or, smoking tons of pot, to try to dull that. Like, feel it, experience it. What is that from? What is the root of that issue, right? Like, where does that come from? If you can't keep a good relationship, where does that come from, right? Because you're the common denominator in everything that goes wrong in your life, right? There's bigger things that we can't control, like what's going on right now with this virus, or how the government handles it. There's really nothing we can do about that. But I do feel like this is the universe putting us in a timeout, essentially, so that we can really go within ourselves, because the answers are there for us, for our lives, right? And, if we can go within ourselves and find the root of the issues that we've been experiencing all our lives and bring some healing to that and start doing some behavior modification after that, what we're doing is we're going to start vibrating on a higher level. We're going to start, exuding much more positive energy. And you know what that does? That elevates the world, right? That gets us to a different place. And so, do I feel like it's end of days? No. Do I feel like this is a wake-up call? Hell motherfucking yes, I do. Universe is putting us in a timeout, especially with quarantine. And if you're alone or you're with very few people, this is a time for us to sit there and contemplate and really, take on the advice of the Hermit card, which is all about, soul searching and, digging deep within and, tapping into things that we really already know. It's just that we've been so distracted with everything that, keeps us busy, keeps our minds busy, keeps us really not focusing on the things that we should. Okay, so these things are being taken away from us right now, right? One of my biggest things is being able to go out to eat. When they took that shit away in Wisconsin, I was pretty pissed, because I'm like, this is my social time with people. I enjoy breaking bread with people. I enjoy trying new cuisine, but now I can't do that. And that pissed me off, because I'm like, my rights are being taken away. This is bullshit. People are overreacting. But I started to calm down a bit, and I started to realize that it's not going to last forever. And, you know, this is really, it's kind of a time of, that we should feel gratitude with it, because it's really a time for us to like be able to, you know, distance ourselves from our busy, distracting lives, and to be able to sit with ourselves and meditate and center and ground, get back into yoga, get back into the creative projects that maybe we started or have never started but always wanted to really rediscover who we are, right? Like, where do we come from? What pain did we come from? You know, what has that taught us? How is that still affecting our lives? What can we do to change that so that we can find, you know, the relationships that we've always longed for, right? So that we can find that peace of mind that maybe a lot of us have been missing. It's really decision-making time, and, you know, some people may feel very disempowered right now, but really this is a time of empowerment for ourselves if we choose that. So take this time, take this quiet time to be able to dig in deep, right? You know, take this time to be able to do things that are healthy for you and to realign with your true path, you know. Who do you want to be, right? I've been reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and so much is striking me, you know, like Caterpillar, like, who are you, right? Like, who are you? Who do you want to be? Who were you, right? These are all things for us to look at and for us to really decide, like, who we want to be in the future and what is it going to take for us to get there, right? So instead of drowning in sadness and sorrow and anger and fear, you know, take this time to recenter. You know, take this time to rediscover your relationship with your higher self, and, you know, listen to that inner voice, and it's not going to steer you wrong. It's not going to lead you astray, you know, discover what you want, discover what it takes to get there. And in the meantime, just know everything's going to be okay. This is not the end of days. This is really just, it's a beginning. And right now we're just kind of trapped in a weird limbo. We can make use of that limbo. You know, we're kind of in the hanged man time right now, which is, you know, feeling like we can't move. And, you know, with the hanged man, that's all about like changing the perception. And that's what we need to do right now. That's what we're being called to do. So instead of giving into the fear and the anger and all the negative shit, you know, instead, like, look within. Start doing things that are good for you, you know, and evolve. Because that's what this is all about. It's time to evolve. Okay? I hope that was helpful to some people. If you have additional questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. If you want a one-on-one reading with me, you know, my information is down below. I'd be happy to, you know, help you discover what your path is, you know, what your obstacles are, so that you can find that peace of mind as well. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay calm, and I wish you guys lots of protection and lots of clarity. I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.